Okay, hey, this is Paul here from PRSK Phoenix Sprinkler. I'm going to show you how to take apart a Hunter PGV 100 valve. It's pretty simple. Let's get down to it. This is how you would replace the diaphragm. You would have your sprinkler lines coming in and out right here. This is how you replace the diaphragm if it's not shutting off or not turning on, and you know it's not your solenoid here. So just pretend like this is in the ground, or you can sometimes remove them and do it up on your driveway or something. But so the first thing you want to do is take off the solenoid here, and this is a brand new valve, but just pretend like it's dirty and into your sprinkler box there. You take off the solenoid, you want to check it, make sure there's no dirt on there. Make sure there's no dirt covering that little hole right there, because it won't shut off right if there's dirt, if you get dirt in there. So be careful when you're working. Now to take the top off, you can use a flathead or a Phillips. They'll both work on these screws there, but you'll probably end up stripping it eventually if you keep repairing it. You can use a 8mm socket or a 5/16 or a 5/16 socket. Either one will work. I recommend doing the socket, but just take each screw out one at a time, each corner. It takes a minute. You can use a drill, but you'll probably not want to put the settings too high, because when you're screwing it back in, you'll strip the valve out and then you'll have to replace the whole thing. That's not fun. And also when you're doing this, just be careful. Just be careful not to get a bunch of dirt all over this thing. You might want to clean the rocks off the top of your valve box and get all the dirt away. And if your valve is covered with dirt, clean as much of it off as you can before you start doing this, because once you get a bunch of dirt in there, it turns into a big old mess. So one thing you're going to want to do is shut your water off before you do this, and you'll know right away if your water's still on, because as soon as you take the solenoid out, a bunch of water will start spraying out this thing. And also be aware that when you take this top off, a lot of resting water in the pipe might start coming out, so just be aware of that. So you get your screws off. Go ahead and lift the top off. Sometimes the diaphragm here will come with it, sometimes it won't. Just don't lose this spring here. It does come off, but you just set it right back on just like that. So go ahead and take the top off. Go ahead and pull the diaphragm out. And then you've got another little plastic gasket here. All you have to do to replace your diaphragm is take the top off, take these parts out, put your new ones in, or you can use the old one too. These don't really wear out. But the important thing is on the diaphragm, see this little nipple right here? The white side goes down. Make sure this nipple lines up with this hole on the front of the valve here. You got to make sure the nipple's lined up with that hole, otherwise it's not going to seal right. And then this hole goes on top of the nipple that went in the other hole. You just put it back together just like that and wiggle it a little bit, make sure it's all lined up straight, and just put your screws back in. And it's usually a good idea not to tighten them all the way down, kind of like changing a tire. Just want to get the first couple going. I'm going to turn it sideways just so I can screw these in a little bit faster for the video here. Maybe just get it almost snug. This is really the Hunter PGV is one of the easiest valves to work on. Super simple. It's not as hard as a Irrigation 205 or anything like that. These are pretty good valves, and these last for a while. I usually like these. These are what I usually install, or the 205s, but the 205 diaphragms seem to wear out pretty quick. And you also can just buy a whole new valve, and instead of cutting it out and redoing the pipe, you can just take the top off the diaphragm out, put a whole new top on it with a new solenoid and a new diaphragm for about the same price. I always just do retops usually. So go ahead and get one corner just a little bit over hand tight, get the other corner a little bit over hand tight, and just work your way kind of across there. Go ahead and crank them down now. So make sure you get a good seal. Then you want to go ahead and put your diaphragm, not your diaphragm, your solenoid back on here. All you do is just twist it on. It might get a little kinked up with the wires. Sometimes it's helpful to when your wires are attached to sprinkler wires, to twist it the other way first. That way when you're twisting it on, by the time you get done, it sits normal. So that's all there is to it. That's how you replace a diaphragm in a Hunter PGV valve.